My family has always celebrated the winter solstice. It's a time to greet the returning sunlight and to share food with other creatures during a season of scarcity. And, of course, solstice is the official start of winter. I love winter. I always throw myself into busy preparations for the coming of the snow. And when it doesn't come, I prepare more. I figure the more I make it feel like winter, the more enticed those clouds will be to let loose. Any day now, it was bound to snow. Except it never did. Lately, there's only one surefire way to find good snowpack, and that's head north. So I got packing. I had 4 days off work and meant to make the absolute most of them. This is like an insane amount of stuff to bring for 4 days. Oh, it's like embarrassing every time I cart it into the hostel. Like, what am I even doing? But we're hoping to hike, ice climb, downhill ski, cross-country ski, ice skate. I don't know what the weather's gonna be like. This is this is everything. So let's hope it doesn't rain.
One, if not both.
Okay. This guy is Andrew, by the way, my significant other and adventure buddy for all things outside.
Ready? Let's go, partner.
Let's go.
Go. That's faster than any of the 3 routes from last night.
Today we plan to summit 2 New Hampshire 4,000 footers. We get to the trailhead by 9 a.m. and hike up Lonesome Lake Trail to Lonesome Lake, ice skate if possible, then take Fish and Jimmy Trail to Kinsman Pond tent site, drop our packs, and speed up to North and South Kinsman Mountains and be back to the car before sunset. But first, we'd need some apple cider donuts. As we approached Franconia Notch and our trail, the wind started to shake the car. All the larger peaks looked totally socked in, and I was starting to lose my stoke for our day out in the mountains.
Oh, it's windy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's just a constant. Yeah, it's the first time using these. All the trail reports that I read were saying that you shouldn't need snowshoes really, like you should be good with micro spikes, which I'm banking on because we're carrying our ice skates up as there's 2 alpine lakes, and if they're frozen over, we're gonna skate on them. But that means I'm carrying my blades and my cross-country ski boots that clip into them. I don't also want to carry my snowshoes and my micro spikes, so I'm gonna just bring my spikes. The best. I think it's fine.
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not ready to go.
Lonesome Lake is really family friendly and a great little summer detour, but in the winter, in the snow, it's transformed. I think the definition of winter wonderland is ice on trees.
The wind in the trees was gentle, stirring up snowflakes into sparkly ribbons in the air, until we stepped out into the gale on Lonesome Lake.
This isn't the only pond either.
We stopped outside Lonesome Lake Hut to adjust our layers and kept moving. The Fish and Jimmy Trail is fabulous for anyone who enjoys going out of their way to hike up and down every little rise and fall in the forest and dislikes solid footing. In other words, it was a typical New Hampshire segment of the Appalachian Trail.
Trail goes right up there.
That's not good.
That.
We made it to our next checkpoint at Kinsman Pond campsite and gave the ice a test for later.
That's crazy.
So it's a little So I'm gonna leave my stuff in the shelter.
Ooh, good idea. Okay.
I'm gonna put my shell on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put snacks in my pockets.
Yeah.
Bring the poles. I think I'll be okay without snowshoes. It can't be much worse than this. You leave everything mostly bundled and your food pretty tucked in case the pine martens come to visit.
Oh. Yes. These are so good.
After leaving our skates and extra gear in the shelter, we pushed up into the rime ice and summited both Kinsmans in the clouds.
Just, gotta show my mom what we're up to.
We have better views on the way back too.
Kinsman Pond was covered in rime ice, but surprisingly skatable. We arrived after dark at my favorite hostel, and after several hundred trips loading in all the gear, we settled in for the night.
1, 2, 3, safety. Okay. So many pants. Oh.
We packed in and made our way to the Kankamagas Highway, a mountain pass that would take us northeast to Cathedral Cliffs. After a pit stop at REI to rent some mountaineering boots for our friend, we arrived at the trailhead. The day was unseasonably warm, the parking lot full of melting snow.
Alright, yeah, we'll just put them on down there. I didn't think about that until just now.
The ice was in, but not as much as usual, and where the climbing was good, there were rows of top ropes already set. We found a corner route that wasn't taken and made camp. It was a blast, honestly, and my toes only went numb once. But even up north, winter felt a little half-hearted this year.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but my helmet is so broken. Big crack all the way through, and oh, look at that. It's totally separated. We got to the crag and pulled it out. It was just like that. It didn't fall. I need a new helmet.
I like to keep track of my adventures in writing. It helps me remember it all and to find the humor when things go a little askew. This morning, we had time to wake up slowly, and of course, to make a massive breakfast.
Like none of this is going in the head.
Yes. If we were dating.
What would you eat?
Uncooked food.
Cannon Mountain definitely needed more snow, but the trails that were open were a blast. We did enough runs that day, in succession, that the lift operator took to calling us spaghetti legs. And she was pretty on the mark.
We just went ice skating again on, not Echo Lake, the lake next to it, at the base of Cannon Mountain. And it got dark as we were skating, and the ice was a little rough in places, but there were sections that were like glass. Like there was almost no friction. You could just keep going and going and going. And I didn't bring a headlamp, so I had to follow Andrew most of the way. But wow, it was magical.
It's really snowing!
The snowstorm I'd been waiting for finally arrived, and the snow fell long into the night, which meant even though we were heading south the next day, there might be just enough cover for one last adventure. Mount Tecumseh is the shortest of the 48 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. Actually, by some measurements, it's not even 4,000 feet. It's the host mountain of Waterville Valley's ski area, though, and Andrew and I have an annual tradition of touring all the way up and skiing all the way back to the car.
I didn't notice that squeaking till you said something.
He's touring. I'm backpacking.
Honestly, snowpack was still pretty low. Andrew had his skis off most of the way up. But there was snow. Underfoot and on the trees, it still felt like winter, and that was enough to celebrate.
That was the first time I've done that without hating it. Usually I'm in like so much pain from how pumped my calves are and then squeezing them into my ski boots. Woo!
Before we drove away, we squeezed in a few hours of cross-country skiing until the sun was well and truly set. And then we were back home, ready to plan the next adventure.